No signature does not always mean there was no agreement. But if things go wrong, you may not be able to prove what the other person promised. Many people imagine a contract must be printed, stamped, and signed before it matters. In everyday deals, that is often too simple. If one person offers to buy and the other agrees to sell, or a freelancer agrees to finish a project for a set price, the agreement may already have legal meaning. The real problem comes later. What exactly was agreed? Price, deadline, scope, payment method, revisions, delivery? Formation is one question. Proving the details is another. Verbal agreements exist because daily life cannot stop for a 10-page contract every time something small happens. You ask someone to repair a pipe, order something through a friend, discuss a small freelance job, or agree on a quick service. Most of the time, people talk, trust, and move forward. But the higher the amount, the longer the timeline, or the more complicated the work, the more dangerous a casual we agreed becomes. One side may remember 3 revisions, the other remembers 1 draft. One side expects payment this month, the other expects payment after final delivery. Writing things down is not what creates trust. It protects memory. A deal is rarely just one sentence. It usually contains key terms: who is involved, what will be done, how much it costs, when it is due, what quality is expected, and what happens if someone does not follow through. Verbal agreements become risky because those pieces are scattered across phone calls, quick chats, meetings, and imperfect memory. While everyone is friendly, the gaps feel harmless. Once there is conflict, the gaps become the battlefield. A client says the extra work was included. The freelancer says it was a new request. A landlord says something was temporary. The other side says it was promised long-term. The painful part is often not being wrong, but having no evidence. You remember the other person agreed to pay. They say it was only a discussion. You remember the price included tax. They say it did not. You remember Friday as the deadline. They say it was only an estimate. In a dispute, emotions usually matter less than records, messages, transfer receipts, quotes, delivery proof, emails, screenshots, lawful recordings, or other supporting facts. That is why a verbal agreement may count is not the same as a verbal agreement is safe. A promise that stays only in the air can disappear like fog. There is another layer. Some agreements may require a particular form depending on the law, the type of transaction, or the rights involved. Many everyday contracts do not require a printed signature, but certain high-risk or special matters may need writing, registration, notarization, or other formal steps to be fully effective or enforceable against others. This is especially important for real estate, guarantees, long-term arrangements, company shares, licensing, rentals, or large transactions. A verbal promise is not useless, but it is not a universal pass. The more serious the right or obligation, the less it should rest on "we talked about it." For normal consumers, freelancers, and small businesses, the practical answer is not to draft a formal contract for every tiny task. It is to build the habit of confirmation. After a call, send a message: here is what we confirmed, here is the price, here is the deadline, here is what is included, and here is what is not. If the other person replies yes, pays a deposit, sends materials, or starts cooperating based on that summary, it may help show what both sides understood. A simple quote, checklist, invoice, order record, transfer record, or message thread can make a huge difference. The point is not to worship paper. A written document can still cause trouble if the wording is vague, the terms contradict each other, or nobody knows which version is final. And a verbal agreement may still be supported by later behavior: payment, delivery, work started, goods received, approvals, or consistent messages. The real question is whether the deal can be reconstructed. Can someone later see what both sides meant at the time? Written records lower the cost of a dispute. Purely verbal deals force everyone to rebuild the story from memory, and memory usually favors the person remembering. So, does a verbal agreement count if nothing was written down? Sometimes, yes. But the practical question is whether you can prove the promise, the terms, and the surrounding facts. Small, simple, immediate transactions often happen by word of mouth. But if the amount is high, the timeline is long, the work is complex, or the risk is serious, leave a record. Confirm by message, summarize with a quote, connect payments to clear terms, and get professional help when needed. A contract does not exist only at the moment of signing. But evidence often decides whether you can explain it. Trust can begin with words, records give it a place to stand.